My name is Danny Banchev. I'm the founder of the Off Porn Academy, and I struggled with porn addiction for 10 years. The first time I ever watched porn was at 9 years old. At the peak of it, I was jerking off to porn 5 times per day. It almost feels like I'm talking about a past life now, but it's true. I've cheated on girlfriends online, I've jerked off in hidden public places like bathrooms, and I've even bleeded a few times. Today, I could brag about the fact that I've managed to stay off porn for periods of more than a year in a row, or that I've managed to get NoFap streaks of more than 100 days. But that wouldn't matter. And that's because I finally decided to completely give up on NoFap. This is the best decision I've ever made, and today I'm gonna share with you 3 ways I managed to build my sexual discipline without NoFap. So the next few minutes will be separated into 3 different sections. In the first one, I'm gonna share a metaphor with you, or a story. This way you can truly understand how ridiculous NoFap really is. Then in the second section, I'm gonna share with you an alternative that is much more efficient and more enjoyable. And then in the third section, I'm gonna share with you 3 steps on how to build your sexual discipline without needing to rely on the NoFap bullshit. So imagine committing to never eating processed sugar ever again. It will be difficult for a few weeks, but then eventually your brain will get used to it and you'll completely forget about it except for occasional urges that you'll consider as irrelevant. But now imagine committing to never eating anything sweet ever again. No more fruits, no more honey, no more natural sugar. Not only will it be absolutely dreadful, but you'll also be going against eons of human nature inside of you, deeply in your biology, of perceiving sweet foods as extremely valuable. Now replace processed sugar with porn and natural sweets with masturbation. What you get is the most helpful metaphor you'll ever come across on your sexual mastery journey. Porn is like processed sugar. It might suck at first to remove it, but your brain will eventually get used to it. And just like processed sugar, completely cutting it out of your life is a non-negotiable when it comes to physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It's also totally achievable. Masturbation, however, is a completely different game. You could technically decide to never ever masturbate ever again, but just like cutting sweet food, the cost is way too high compared to the benefits. Not only is it incredibly challenging, but it's also going against the reason you even exist in the first place. That is exactly why I highly recommend intermittent semen retention, the practice of avoiding ejaculation for a predetermined period of time. That's the difference. You still practice discipline, you preserve and harness your sexual energy, but only for certain periods of time, and you choose in advance when to engage in sexuality. Not only will some occasional mindful ejaculation like loving sex or meditative masturbation be healthy for you, but it will also make the game of sexual mastery so much more enjoyable. Think about it. Why are sports so fun? There's an element of playful challenge pushing us to expand beyond our limits. There's competition, there's progress, but all that effort is also followed by occasional periods of celebration and rest. You and your team might push yourself to maximum effort during the playoffs, but you'll also take the time to rest and celebrate when you win or when you don't. Or you might push through the physical pain of running a marathon, but only because you know there is actually a finish line and there will be a moment where you get to rest and celebrate after. In that same way, progressively increasing the time in which you practice semen retention while letting yourself rest from time to time, for example, masturbating every 10 days, will allow you to reap 95% of the benefits without any of the downsides. To me, that's a win-win. So here are 3 ways I built sexual discipline without NoFap. Step number 1, make a personal assessment. Grab a piece of paper right now or open the notes app on your phone and note down how often you tend to ejaculate on average. Is it 3 times per day, once per day, once every 3 days, once per week? You know it best. And I'm not talking about your peak when like you're really using all of your willpower and your discipline. I'm talking about what was your natural tendency before you even tried to quit. Good. So now that you got it, triple that time gap. So if it was 3 times per day, now it's 1 time per day. If it was 1 time per day, now it's every 3 days. And once you have that new time gap, take it and schedule a moment in your calendar. For example, if your new time gap is every 3 days. Schedule a moment in your calendar right now in 3 days where you can do whatever the fuck you want with your dick. I know it sounds so counterintuitive right now. You've probably never even seen this perspective, but stay with me. Stay until the end. I promise it's worth it. In all cases, when you schedule that moment, make it achievable enough so you're absolutely certain you can do it, but uncomfortable enough so you know it's gonna get you out of your comfort zone. Now, step number 2, that's when it gets interesting. Turn it into a game. Make it an absolute non-negotiable, like whatever it takes to not ejaculate until that moment in your calendar. Make it a challenge, just like that one time you ran your first 5 kilometers or your first 10 kilometers despite how uncomfortable it was, or the first time you took a cold bath or a cold shower, or when you did the 75 hard challenge, or when you set a timer and you worked for a project you've been procrastinating for days, or you studied for an exam, you put a timer of like 90 minutes and you stick to it. The same type of vibe. And if you've never done any of that stuff I just mentioned, start by doing that first. If you're still not convinced from that approach, here are all the benefits you're gonna get from it. Self-awareness, discipline, patience, presence, and impulse control. All traits of an incredibly meaningful, fulfilling, and successful life. According to scientific studies, it will also optimize your levels of dopamine and testosterone, which will result in increased energy, mood, motivation, confidence, courage, and focus. All traits of very high value men. And last but not least, for my spiritual believers out there, it will also boost your creative power since you're literally transmuting sexual, creative life energy. That energy literally has the power to create life, and you're transferring that into your goals and your vision. Are you starting to get it now? Step number 3, you focus on slow but steady progress. Like once you achieve that initial milestone, celebrate the shit out of it. We're talking get so much pleasure that you basically get sick of it, and then raise the bar by just 1 day. For example, if your last run was 4 days, now your next one is 5 days. And you keep on raising the bar as you make progress on the journey. Remember, my friend, the goal is for you to be in control and to progress. You cannot improve what you don't measure. No matter what you do, make sure it's your choice. You are way better consciously masturbating every few days than unconsciously losing control and relapsing every few weeks. Trust me, your self-image and your mental health will be thanking you. Alright, my people, that was all for me today. Hopefully you found this video valuable enough. I know it might have challenged anything you've seen around the NoFap community, but trust me, give it a try. You have nothing to lose. By the way, whenever you're ready, there are 3 more ways I can help you. Number 1, if you prefer learning by reading, then you'll be happy to hear that this video you just watched is the exact script of only one of the 3 lessons in this week's edition of the Triple Wisdom Wednesdays, which is my newsletter. So every week I share 3 valuable lessons that can help you progress faster with less pain. It's completely free. It takes about 10 minutes to read. So if you're interested to sign up, the link is in the description. Now, the second way I can help you is that if you're a man and you're just tired of always breaking your promises, feeling ashamed of yourself, then you can join us in the #1 porn addiction recovery brotherhood in the world. It's called the Off Porn Academy. The link is in the description. We'll be right there waiting for you on the other side. And last but not least, number 3, if you don't want to be left behind during the digital gold rush, you can join the school games where 30.4% of new members make their first $1 online. The link is in the description. Start your free trial today. You have 14 days free. Other than that, thank you all so much for listening. I'm so grateful for y'all. Much love. Take care, and I'll see you here soon. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, if you want to see more of my stuff, you can also subscribe. Just saying. Much love.